Harris County is now addressing the issue of the severe backlog of criminal cases by adding a dozen new prosecutors. The backlog also having a big effect on dangerous suspects being released on bond and the ability to bring them to justice.
Which brings us to tonight's breaking bond as we now reach 120 residents who have been killed by someone who a judge allowed to walk free despite repeat bond violations. Fox 26's Randy Wallace live from downtown continuing his series. Randy.
Caitlin, we have found at least 15 instances where judges gave repeat violent offenders yet another bond, even after they were charged with murder. What kind of sense does that make?
It's criminal justice reform. And I always say that criminal justice reform only benefits criminals. And a lot of Sun people take issue with that. And I want you to ask yourself, do you identify crime with blackness? Is that something that you identify? Because it may be you and not me. The fact that whenever a politician wants to get the black vote, they talk about lighter sentences and criminal justice and prison reform. They never talk about anything for black people who aren't on parole, probation, incarcerated. There's nothing for those black people. So when you get upset with me for saying that, criminal justice reform only benefits criminals, and I'm not really even saying anything against it. I'm just saying it only benefits criminals. But when you get upset with me for that, I want you to look at yourself. Look inward. Stop looking outward like you. Look at the three fingers pointed back at yourself. How is that racist? Is it because what we see every day in these cities, no matter what city you live in, on the news, on the 6 o'clock news, what you hear about in the streets, when you are a victim of crime? Is that the reason? Is it you, the one that sees Sun people as criminals? And not me being a coon and a butter biscuit eater.
Caitlin, we have found at least 15 instances where judges gave repeat violent offenders yet another bond, even after they were charged with murder. What kind of sense does that make? 38-year-old Brandis Andrus's criminal history is so lengthy, he has more mugshots than some people have selfies. But that didn't stop 185th Criminal District Court Judge Luong from allowing Andrus to be a free man, giving him 3 felony bonds, one for assaulting a family member last year. On June 14th, police say Andrus and another man murdered 35-year-old Roderick Miller.
He ran after him, he shot at him multiple times and still kept shooting at him. I mean, this was pretty brutal and pretty cold-blooded.
But not cold-blooded enough for Judge Luong to keep Andrus in jail, even after being charged with murder.
Wait a second, he's bonded out? I said, oh, come on. You gotta be kidding me. The guy's already on 3 bonds.
2 days after he was arrested, Andrus walked out of jail because Judge Luong set bond at $200,000. Andrus is now accused of killing the 127th Harris County resident to fall victim to the courthouse's revolving door.
So now when you look at this judge, right, and you hear the numbers in this one city, this one town, and it's like this in every town, every city. How do you not just walk away from somebody mid-sentence when they start talking about the system is racist towards black people. How do you sit there and allow somebody to just browbeat you about how racist this country is and the system is always against black, and you just sit there and listen and just take it like it's your comeuppance? When this is happening in every city, big cities, small cities, medium-sized cities, and it's been going on for decades. But now it's ramped up even more, like to crazy levels. And yet people will just, talk about how, and with no pushback, none. And I'm not saying go out here and be some advocate against criminal justice reform. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying if someone comes to you with this whole, the system is locking all people up for no reason and throwing away the key. If you a black person, if a black person would have did that, they would have got a life sentence. If a black person would have did, like every time a white person gets anything, any sentence that they don't like, I was a black person, they would have got life in jail. And you just let them talk like that. That's all I'm saying. Like, why you let them talk to you like that? Don't go out here with no banners and signs on your anti-criminal justice movement. I'm not saying do that. Just like, and in mods, how do you let people get in the comment section? And I'm not saying you gotta block people, but how do you let like newcomers get in the comment section and say like, talk about how racist things are without like checking them? It's just crazy, man. I mean, I don't know, man. Just a weird, strange thing that's going on in this country. Like, people just openly say things that are like patently false.
There is at least 15 defendants on that 127 list who were originally on multiple felony bonds, charged with murder, that are back out on bonds. And you, Randy, have done several of their stories.
He had a whole life ahead of him. This could have been prevented.
Last February, we told you how 17-year-old Raul Zarco would be alive now if 262nd Criminal District Court Judge Lori Chambers Gray would have done what the DA's office asked her to do: revoke 21-year-old Raul Alexander Leon's bond. Now Leon is charged in the murder of Raul Zarco. Like Judge Luong, Gray decided to free Leon yet again, even though he was accused of murder.
Maybe if she would put herself in somebody else's shoes that lost somebody who had a whole life ahead of him, then maybe she would think differently.
Are these the black and brown bodies I'm hearing so much about from pro-blacks and pasty white liberals? They always talking about black and brown bodies. Is this one of the brown bodies? I don't think so. They don't care about victims of crime. They only care. Want me to show you the only brown body they care about? That means the only brown body they care about. Wow.
Now, if there are any criminal district court judges out there who truly care about public safety, call me. Let's do an interview. Reporting live from downtown, Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
It's been a busy summer for the NYPD as police investigate robberies across the city.
Over just the last month, there has been a significant spike in crime, with a lot of these robberies turning violent.
I just gotta say this, man. She said with a lot of these robberies turning violent. A better way to say that is, with a lot of the people getting robbed not wanting to give their stuff up because most robberies would go smooth if when the stranger comes up and asks you for your stuff, you just give it to him. Unfortunately, some people don't take too kindly to people just coming up and asking them for all their money and jewelry.
CBS 2's John Diaz live this morning from Harlem with more. John.
Good morning to both of you. Well, police telling us that some of these robberies are random. Other ones seem to be a bit more planned out. But one thing is for sure, robberies so far this summer, they are up. It's violence this 61-year-old woman didn't expect. But in this video, you could see her getting attacked by a group of young people police believe are half her age. The suspects, 3 women and a man, are seen beating her. At one point, one used a cooking pot. It happened on the sidewalk near West 151st Street and Frederick Douglass Boulevard in Harlem on Tuesday. Police say they stole $22, credit cards, and even her walker. The woman was then treated at a hospital.
Now, I didn't want to show you the whole thing, man, because it's just brutal what happened to this 60-something-year-old woman by these young, disenfranchised people that just need condos in affluent neighborhoods, and they'll completely change their behavior. And they just need more services, mental health aids, more money, and they'll change their behavior. Rec centers and things of that nature. Oh, damn, I'm doing the liberal thing. I'm talking about the person or the people beating the crap out of a 66-year-old woman in broad daylight at a busy intersection. And I'm not talking about the woman getting her brains beat out by 3 people at a busy intersection in broad daylight in the largest city in this country. My bad. It's so easy to fall into these liberal tropes, man. These liberal mindset, man. Even I slipped up sometimes. Let me get back to the real story here. The 66-year-old woman getting the crap beat out of her in broad daylight at a busy intersection in the most populated city in the country. This stuff happens all the time. And seniors are often targeted because they're what we call soft targets. When you're a soft target, that means, well, everybody's a soft target in a democratically run city because most people who are law-abiding citizens don't carry. So if you're smart and you're a robber or a jacker, you don't run up on a homeboy or a son teen, a sonlineal, you're pretty much gonna have your way, especially if you're armed or you have them outnumbered. But the reason this stuff happens is because of criminal justice reform. And I guarantee you, all of these people beating the crap out of this 60-year-old woman in broad daylight at a busy intersection in the most populated city in the country have criminal records as long as CVS receipts. And this went on for a while too. So there was no fear of cops. All this, they scared of cops. Floyd was scared of the cop. That's why he kept fighting with him. Rashad Brooks was scared of the cop. That's why he beat him up, took their taser, and shot him with it. Because that's what you do when you're scared of somebody. Yet, when you go to the hood, and the little savages and goons, self-proclaimed savages and goons running around, y'all don't do that to them, and y'all scared of them. Your fear of these little savages in the community don't make you go beat them up and fight with them. don't make you go argue and fuss with them, even after they've killed a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old. Ain't that odd? How only when it's a cop do your fear make you want to fight. When it's one of these little savages, your fear make you just still. You can't even, you can hear your teeth chattering 2 blocks away.
The woman was then treated at a hospital. It's just one of the latest crimes plaguing New York City. In the last month, robberies citywide have shot up 16%. This morning, police are still searching for this man who on July 9th in the Soundview section of the Bronx robbed a 24-year-old man at gunpoint of his 2 neck chains worth a total of $20,000.
You see what my man did? Quickly took them joints off and quickly handed them over. You notice he didn't argue and fuss with him like allegedly you do with cops when you scared of cops. You so terrified of cops. Look what he does. Look at the speed at which he took them chains off. He took them things off quickly. And this is broad daylight.
Section of the Bronx robbed a 24-year-old man at gunpoint of his 2 neck chains worth a total of $20,000. As the suspect fled, bystanders noticed his gun and took cover, ducking behind parked vehicles. And detectives are asking for help tracking down a group of men wanted in connection with a citywide robbery spree, a total of 28 incidents, starting back in May, from stealing jewelry at gunpoint to iPhones and even cars like this 2018 Toyota Camry. And a family that knows about city crime too well now is Denden Tways, who are still praying.
She's a very good woman. She's very responsible.
Tway is in a coma, fighting for her life after being knocked down the stairs during an attempted robbery at a subway station in Manhattan with her son.
Now, do you think that was this guy's first offense? No, better yet, hit 1 if you think this guy has been arrested more than 20 times. And if you hit 1, how do you then get chastised about how racist the criminal justice system is? How do you then get somebody read you on Twitter and just tell you off about Now remember, I'm not saying become a anti-criminal justice advocate, none of that stuff. It's just like, come on, man. Every single city's like this.
You're being knocked down the stairs during an attempted robbery at a subway station in Manhattan with her son.
At that moment, he just very frantically yelled out very loud for help. There was a lot of blood.
Now, police this morning, they are reminding everyone that there are monetary rewards for giving tips that lead to arrests. And as for that subway attack, that reward now is $10,000. We're live this morning from Harlem. John Diaz, CBS 2 News.